Left hand one's before, right hand one's after, okay? Both these sort of blue lines represent sort of where your right leg was, okay? If we look at the left hand one as you went back now, okay? Centre-wise was pretty good, and the takeaway to there was good, okay? It was only from here now, rather than your right hip kind of goes around this way, it goes in that direction, okay? So if we watch as you go... This is before, okay? So if I just, So you can see the blue line there, your right hip pocket there, and that's a big pop out there, and you're getting very steep. Your arms are quite high, and from that steeper angle, you're going to come down across the ball. Now, with a wedge, 9, 8, 7's probably a threshold. You're okay, you can get away with it. You've got enough loft, and you can hit sort of a fairly straight shot. As you go to longer clubs, i.e. the driver, it's tough to come back, okay? If we look at this one on the right hand, this is your new before, okay? Same good takeaway, and from there now,
it stayed in.
You can see now your hips are rotating to the top of the backswing there, and there's less slide, okay? So your right hip now has maintained its position. You basically rotated, as we said, around that kind of barrel sort of sensation, like so, rather than actually sliding that way. So when you've rotated on the way back, you've loaded that right hip, and you probably, and I think to be honest with you, this is not a nice way. Tomorrow morning you might feel that right hip a bit. Oh, cool. You've used this muscle in here that you haven't really used before, because, and that's why I always try and get guys to when you hit.
But to be honest, right, I know I've been doing it for years, and I've had lessons with you.
Yeah, we mentioned it before. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But for some reason, it don't feel out of sync with maybe what I've been practicing, and we've already started the lessons. It don't feel that hard for me to rectify.
No, it's something you've done before. The brain's going, I remember doing that.
Yeah, I've got a constant.
Exactly. But the problem is, and this is what often happens, and where faults, shall we say, and again, I've had the same swing for 30 years, 25 years. I know what the fault is, and when it starts happening, I get that sort of, that certain shot comes in, I go, okay, light bulb moment, I'm doing this, let's go and work on trying to fix that. I know I've had hay fever for 20 years, okay? So if I get you know what it's like, I take the right medicine for it. If I took paracetamol or ibuprofen for hay fever, I'd still be sneezing, coughing, and having all the same symptoms. So you know what the fault is, therefore what the cure is, you can fix yourself. It's been that self-diagnosis, and this is what we're trying to do with these sort of things, to try and get golfers to be better self-diagnosed with their own golf swing. Not just like, it's going right, what do I do? Try and do everything and just add compensations and more faults. But what happens is, if I just draw a line there, if this is your, get a straight line. If that's kind of your target line up the blue line there, so that we're on the tee here somewhere, hitting the golf ball down there, okay? If a couple of your tee shots just start doing this and going off to the right there, not a problem, okay? You'll then start thinking, well, I don't want that golf club to sort of start going on this arc, because if I go back here on the way back, therefore turning my hip, well, it's going to start going further and further in this direction, okay? So what you then do, probably more unconsciously, is think, well, if I'm hitting the ball to the right, I better start this golf club now in this direction and hit the golf ball over there. Then you start swinging it out to the right. So rather than allowing the swing to go this way, the ball's going over here. If I go this way with the ball, my path doesn't want to come back on this direction, because that's going to send it further right. So, okay, I'll just do this with it, and then you start going outside more, or you start going back steeper. And the way in which you change the path of your club is through your right hip. Not consciously, it's just that path of the golf club often evolves based on what it is. You can see loads of golfers, okay? I could have a guy come in and just set up, I could say whether he's a shanker, hooker or slicer, based on how he sets up. Because you see guys who, you might play with some of the guys yourself, if you've got somebody who's sliced for all their life, they put the golf club on, don't they? There's your common slicer. I'll just shut the club face. I'm going to open the club face on the way down, so I'll just start with it 10 degrees closed, okay? You see shankers of the golf ball start with the club on the toe there, don't they? Because they're so scared they hosel, they start with over here somewhere. So that's a shanker. You see draws the ball, kind of doing this to try and start it somewhere over there. So depending on what ball flight you create, and again, you might fade a couple of golf balls, and as we said before, if we're honest, we go to first tee, we're not really warmed up, we go straight on the first tee, been working all morning, maybe had a bit busy week or whatever, you're just happy to be out on the golf course, and the first couple get a little bit stiff, because maybe I got warmed up, your arms a bit tight, you've had some issues with your elbows, obviously being able to use your elbows is going to be difficult. You get a few cutty ones, and that's just because of some physical issues there in terms of being warmed up and maybe the elbow pain, which is obviously gone now, as you said. And then you start evolving a compensation for those first couple of shots, rather than go, okay, I'm not warmed up yet. Once my arms start getting a bit more loose and I can start swinging the golf club, I can square the club face up. But once a few have started going to the right, you've then gone, well, I don't want to go to the right, so I better start going out here. How can I get the golf club to sort of go in this direction? This will send it further left. I'm out there, so I'm going to go way further left. Well, I can't go and do that. Can I just look stupid? So I'll go, okay, that worked, yeah, great. And then, back across it. So this right hip will kind of be your go-to, your fail-safe to try and start it left to target. Hence why I say when you're on the golf course now, if you start in a few cutty ones and you start losing a bit of power, just be aware of that right hip. That's not much of, okay, right, what's this hip doing? Okay, and maybe just do a few practice swings. Because again, you talk about losing power. If you're not loading up that right side, you're not creating power, are you?
No,
if you just slide your hips, you get nothing. If I stood there, okay, throw a ball, but go...
There's a 30-yard difference.
Oh, gotcha. You had
maybe 40 yards.
Well, 250 was, I think, 248 was one of your longest ones, that pitched at 234. Your first drive you hit went about 180, pitched at 180 and went about just creeped 200.
Yeah.
And it was high above the screen and ended over there somewhere. So, oh, gotcha.
Between 30 and 50.
And you're getting no run this time of year now. So that 20 yards of run you would have gotten here, you're probably getting 2 yards. So that's a 190-yard drive. Well, okay, on the third on the button, that's okay. On other holes, on the third, you can't reach in 2. On the fourth, you can't reach in 2. On other holes, you're struggling, okay? So it's getting that right hip to clear out the way. And that's going to be your, if I'm getting this shot again, or I get that feeling, then you're going to go back to this, okay? But that right, again, you can do some drills on that. You can work on that right hip if you want to, just sort of turning out the way to get that feeling in the hip. And that's going to upload your power, okay? That make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.